Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I will be discussing what I thought of the latest episode of the new spin-off show, The Walking Dead World Beyond. It dropped its second episode tonight. It immediately followed the season 6 premiere of the first spin-off, Fear the Walking Dead. I know, it's a lot to keep track of. I'll try my best to help you out if you're confused. Oh, and before I begin, of course, as usual with most of my episode reviews, don't keep watching or listening to this if you haven't watched the first episode of World Beyond, or if you haven't watched this episode yet. So, we'll see. Anyway, you've been warned. So, that being said, let's jump right back into it. So, the thing that I really liked about this episode is that they showed us, some people are like, oh, do they not know how to kill zombies or walkers or defend themselves? I thought about that for a second, but then I'm like, well, realistically, if you have spent a majority of your life living behind the safety of walls during a zombie apocalypse, and you never or rarely went outside beyond the walls for any reason, and you're encountering the dead for the very first time, and you don't have a whole lot of weapons training or experience, you're not going to be the best at it. And I think they demonstrated that well with all 4 kids, showing how difficult it was for them to take down like 2 or 3 walkers. I did love the creative kill where they dropped a bowling ball from a fucking treehouse and it smashed like half of the walker's face. It didn't kill it, but it like caved in half of its face, which was nasty and awesome. And speaking of nasty and awesome, I don't think we've seen people throw up before in this series, but we've never seen anyone throw up on a walker that they're about to kill or they just killed. So that was a first, and that was interesting. And again, further demonstrating just how inexperienced these 4 young people are. And that's not a criticism, it's just a fact. And I'm sure as the show goes on, they'll become more seasoned and hardened and better fighters against walkers. I loved how they came up with their own Valley of the Dead and their own little hellscape, like their own version of Mordor, walking across a volcanic or an ashy, smoky wasteland. In this case, the wasteland is filled with burning tires, a fire that has never gone out, like in over a decade. I didn't know that about tires, that they could burn for a decade. That's interesting and really, really sad pollution-wise. Anyway, and then it's just filled with smoke and walkers are everywhere. That was cool, watching them try to escape through that. I'm like, oh, that was surprisingly easier than expected. Nope, that was only the first part. Shoot. So that was cool, and it looks like they still have a long ways to go in terms of getting out of that hellscape next week's episode. The other thing I liked, because I'm really starting to like Felix, and I love that we're getting some backstory, some tragic backstory on his character. But the thing that's like the saddest for me was watching him in his flashback when he runs back home from college when the outbreak first began, and he's banging on the door of his house, and his parents don't want him there, or they won't let him back in because he's gay. Very sad. The show obviously takes place in a universe where there are zombies everywhere and people are living in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's not exactly realistic in a sense that this will probably never happen, or hopefully will never happen. But I like that they apply real world or real life pain to a character in a fictional character in a show. In this case, he has to unexpectedly come out to his parents, or at least to his dad, and his dad is obviously not very receptive to it. It's just a very sad scene, because this shit happens in real life with all sorts of LGBTQ and gay people, when they're accidentally outed or someone discovers it, and then of course their reaction is just shit, much like his asshole father. And that was sad to watch. I felt bad for Felix, and I hope he got some form or sense of closure by putting down his zombified parents in his house, because he did tell his friend Huck how, he killed his parents. He went back home to kill them. And something else that occurred to me while watching this is our very first glimpse or seeing what life is like in the world of The Walking Dead in the Midwest. Walking Dead has been strictly in Georgia and Virginia and Washington, D.C. all these years. Fear the Walking Dead started in Los Angeles, ended up in Mexico, and then in Texas, and now still is in Texas, world beyond is showing us Nebraska, which is our first glimpses to how things physically look and appear in the Midwest, and it doesn't look that much better than they do in the rest of the country. Just an interesting thought I wanted to throw out there. What did you guys think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I want to hear your thoughts and your theories and your opinions and why. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more Walking Dead videos, as we now have this show and Fear the Walking Dead dropping new episodes every Sunday night on AMC. Don't miss it, guys. Have an awesome rest of your night, and of course, until next time, may the Force be with you.